All right, good morning. So today I'm sailing in some very light winds, and I figured I would take advantage of the opportunity to talk about the use of tethers while sailing. And I use tethers a lot, and that's due to some hard experiences of dropping things overboard. I've lost a mast gate, I've lost tools, I've lost all kinds of things overboard. I started tethering things to the boat, and granted, a couple things you need to be wary of is, right, you don't want to create a tripping hazard. You don't want to tether something in a way that it keeps you from getting to it when you need it, and you don't want to tether something in a way that it's going to get fouled in any of your lines. But aside from that, tethering, because at my lake I sail in up to 136 feet of water, and so if I drop something overboard that doesn't float, then I'll never see it again. And so, as an example, the suction cup camera mount that I'm using right now to film this is my second suction cup camera mount. I suction cupped it to the side of the boat and tried to shoot some video, and I got the camera back, but when I went to grab the suction cup, bloop, it went into the water, and so I had to buy a new one of those. So what kinds of things do you need to tether on your boat? Well, all the things that you really need to sail the boat, to operate the boat. So your outboard emergency shutoff, key, in my case my mast gate, because it becomes really difficult to sail the boat without the mast gate, and it can pop out. Things that are very expensive, camera equipment, things that are difficult to replace, car keys and fobs, things like that. And you probably don't want to put a tether on your car keys, but you probably should at least put a float on it. And really, anything that if it fell off the boat, you'd be like, uh-oh. You want to think about tethering it or putting a float on it. I do tether my cameras and their mounts to the boat usually. You can probably see behind me, I've got my 360 camera, and there's a little hook on the bottom that is looped on there, that if in case I lose a grip on it, it'll still be tethered to the boat. So I also tether, there's a lock stick on the Torpedo that locks the battery in place, and it's just a little plastic stick. So I tether that to the battery. Of course, your anchor. So the very end of my anchor line has a loop on it and a carabiner that I attach to my bow chain plate, and there's a little hole in the bow chain plate for that. So that is tethered to the boat. So the concern there is if the anchor line slips from your hands, it doesn't all feed out and then you don't have an anchor anymore. So another thing that I tether to the boat right here in the cockpit is my emergency whistle. So I do have an air horn, but that's in the cabin. And so if I needed it really quickly, I would reach for my whistle, and it has a quick release buckle on it. But that's tethered right here in the cockpit. Another thing that's really easy to lose and that I tethered to my boat is the pin for the rudder. So there's a little pin that you can stick in the rudder pintle, and that locks the rudder in so that it can't rise up, can't lift up and then come off the rudder pintles. So as far as what to use for tethers, of course, you can use like pieces of string, or I've used like the wire that you use for hanging photographs, little wires that go on the back. Those are nice. They have a coating on them, but you can twist them on real good. You can also purchase these on Amazon. So these are just little wire tethers, and then put a carabiner on it. And so you can, wrap one end, basically loop it, wrap one end around the object, and then clip on the other end. Another good practice is the use of floats for those things that don't float. So like as an example, my cell phone. This is the one that I keep on my cell phone. So my cell phone has a little lanyard, and then it has a tether, and then it has a float. And it's just a good idea. And you can test it. You can put it in a bucket, make sure that it actually will float it. And so in the case of my cell phone, it just barely keeps it from sinking. So there's a lot of possibilities for tethers, lots of different things you can use. All right, well, I hope this was helpful, and as always, thanks for watching.